illegal immigrants, individuals who are not citizens, who are not authorized to work, and who do not possess Social Security numbers. Instead, they were approved using ITs, individual taxpayer identification numbers, designed not as a pathway to permanent residency, but as a bureaucratic band-aid. And yet Prisma and lenders just like them are now treating those ITINs as valid credentials for full-fledged mortgages. They're issuing six-figure loans backed not by legal identity, not by citizenship, not by allegiance to this nation, but by a number that was never intended to prove anything except the IRS wants its cut. Think about what this means. They've created a parallel financial universe, one that operates outside the bounds of federal mortgage law. FHA loans.
Come on now.
Judge has already banned non-citizens from receiving them. And instead of enforcing that firewall, the left responded by shuffling the game board. Now these private lenders are the new gateway to home ownership for people who have no legal right to be here in the first place. This isn't just financial negligence. This is economic treason. While American citizens are suffocating under the weight of soaring interest rates, astronomical credit requirements, and housing prices that climb faster than paychecks, illegal immigrants are being fast-tracked into the housing market. You try walking into a bank today with a 680 credit score and applying for a home loan. You'll be laughed out the door. But if you cross the border illegally, claim an ITIN, and have a nonprofit whisper in your ear, you're handed the keys to a three-bedroom house in the suburbs. This is happening in broad daylight, and nobody in the media is holding them accountable. Why? Because this isn't just about a loophole. It's about an entire ecosystem engineered by the left, sustained by corrupt financial institutions, and buried by a complicit press. The politicians push the policies. The banks get rich on interest. The NGOs post the paperwork. And Democrats get what they want most of all: dependable, permanent, politically obedient tenants inside the system. And the rest of us, we pay for it. We pay through higher property taxes. We pay through inflated rent. We pay through eroded neighborhoods. We pay through public schools overcrowded by students whose parents broke our laws to get here and now demand services we never agreed to fund. And the media? Silent. Not a word on the nightly news. Not a question during debates. Not a headline in the New York Times. They want you blind. So let me ask what they won't. Why is a U.S. citizen with 3 decades of tax-paying history required to show perfect credit, while a foreign national with no legal status is granted $400,000 to buy a home? Why are we subsidizing mortgages through interest deductions, loan loss insurance, and downstream bailouts for individuals who are in this country illegally? Why do banks even have the legal space to do this in the first place?
Thank you.
Because they were allowed to. Because the system was designed this way. We're told the system is broken. It's not. It's functioning exactly as it was redesigned to benefit everyone but the American citizen. Sanctuary policies didn't emerge by accident. Lax border enforcement wasn't just an oversight. The collapse of identity verification in lending wasn't incompetence. It was intentional deregulation, sold as compassion, but executed as conquest. Conquest of your neighborhoods, your schools, your property values, your national identity. We've been conditioned to believe that questioning any of this makes you cruel or racist or un-American. But what's more un-American than telling citizens they come last? What's more racist than building a financial system where the law doesn't apply, so long as you cross the border with the right narrative? The left knew exactly what they were doing. They opened the borders, they handcuffed ICE, they flooded the zone with illegal entries, and then when public outrage peaked, they shifted the battlefield to housing. This housing isn't just economic, it's territorial, it's cultural, it's generational, and when you hand it away to people with no allegiance to the rule of law, you're not just giving away property, you're surrendering sovereignty. The Christmas scandal is just the tip of the iceberg. There are other lenders doing the same thing. There are state and local governments looking the other way. There are real estate agents, brokers, and mortgage officers building their careers on the backs of people who should not be here. And every time someone signs one of those mortgage papers with an ITIN, you, the American citizen, are being told in no uncertain terms, this country is not yours anymore. But that's a lie, and it's one I refuse to understand, because this isn't just corruption, it's strategy. And the reason they do it is simple. People often make the mistake of calling the left incompetent. That's not just wrong, it's dangerously naive. What we're seeing in this mortgage scandal isn't the result of bungled policy or soft-hearted mismanagement. It's the byproduct of deliberate design. The left understands exactly what they're doing because for them this has never been about compassion, it's about control. Let me make this plain. When an illegal immigrant gets a home loan from Prisma, it's not just a financial transaction. It's the beginning of a political chain reaction. A loan becomes a neighborhood. The neighborhood becomes a school district. That district demands resources. Resources require political advocacy. And over time, all of this builds a voter base, loyal not to the Constitution, but to the very machine that smuggled them in through the back door. You think this is accidental? Every illegal mortgage has been folded into a political machine. One bill not to uphold the law, their permanent demographic leverage. This is political engineering on a scale not seen since the days of Cannon Hall, when party bosses handed out housing fees in exchange for lifelong votes. Back then they called it ward politics. Today they call it equity. And the people pushing it, they're consistent. They know that if you give someone property, if you give them sanctuary, if you promise their children schools, food, subsidies, and silence from law enforcement, you don't need to win their hearts. You've already purchased their loyalty. This is why they hate voter ID laws. This is why they scream at the mention of immigration enforcement. This is why they label every border wall, every ICE raid, every citizenship check as oppressive or racist. Because any break on this system threatens to dismantle the electoral fortress they've spent decades constructing. Understand this. Illegal immigration is not a crisis to the left. It's a solution. They don't see undocumented migration as a threat. They see it as a demographic strategy. They open the floodgates of the border. They look the other way as NGOs provide housing, education, and legal defense. They empower private lenders to issue home loans under the radar. And once enough critical mass is reached, they roll out the final stage, a pathway to citizenship. And suddenly, millions of people, many of whom broke the law to enter this country, are now handed the vote. Not because they earned it, but because they were maneuvered into it by a party hungry to make its grip permanent. This is why they despise Donald Trump, because Trump was the only one willing to say it plainly. Citizenship is a privilege, not a gift. He exposed the scam for what it was. He stopped the pipeline. No more sweetheart loans for illegals, no more sanctuary city funding, no more catch and release charades, no more bending the knee to identity groups designed to fracture the American citizen base. And the left couldn't take it, because the minute Trump walked into Washington, he ripped the mask off the entire operation. He showed us that this wasn't about helping the poor or lifting up the downtrodden. It was about building a voter class that would never question the system, because the system handed them everything. You want to know why they kept trying to impeach him? Why the media went into overdrive? Why every politician was met with lawsuits, protests, and slander? Because he cut off their supply chain. They need new voters. They need non-citizens to become citizens. And they need those citizens to vote blue forever. That's why they're so fixated on housing. Because a house needs roots, and roots need permanence. Every illegal immigrant who becomes a homeowner is one step closer to normalization, and one vote closer to tipping the scales in every battleground state in America. They're not offering opportunity, they're forging dependency. They don't want upward mobility, they want client populations, people who will never bite the hand that feeds them, because the hand now owns the roof over their head. And while they call it diversity, while they brand it as inclusion, let me tell you what's really happening. They are replacing the working class American voter, the citizen who built this country, paid their taxes, raised families, and lived by the law. They are being pushed out, priced out, replaced, all for the sake of a new political underclass that will never question the terms of their welcome. You are witnessing the transformation of America, not through bullets, but through ballots bought with broken laws. This is how the left plans to win forever, not through persuasion, not through ideas, but through imported loyalty. And here's the irony. The very people who once defended labor, defended wages, defended the blue-collar worker, are now burning it all down in to usher in a new, dependent, and obedient base. But they've forgotten one thing. The only way to dismantle a rigged game is to flip the table. When a system is this rigged, this brazen, and this hostile to the very people it was supposed to protect, there's only one answer. Dismantle it from the top down. Not reform, not negotiation, a total takedown. That's the America First solution. And Donald Trump is the only man in America with the clarity, courage, and sheer will to do it. The first step, shut down the loophole. No more home loans issued through ITINs. No more bypassing the Social Security requirement. You want a mortgage in this country? Then you need to be legally present, fully documented, and on record. Because right now, Prisma and a growing network of private lenders are exploiting a legal gray zone, offering billion-dollar loan packages to individuals who aren't even supposed to be here. It's not just wrong, it's economic warfare against the American middle class. So, we close the pipeline. No more mortgages for illegal immigrants, period. But that's only the beginning. We need to ban private banks from using taxpayer-insured capital to underwrite illegal loans. That means if you're a lender who wants to play games with the border, you do it on your own dime, not with a single penny of government backstop. Trump has already promised to weaponize the executive branch in the right direction. Under his next term, there will be a federal task force launched specifically to investigate illegal lending, straw purchases, real estate shell games, and financial institutions enabling the immigration racket. That includes so-called nonprofits and NGOs. We're going to crack down on the entire shadow ecosystem that's turning our cities into safe havens for people who broke our laws and turning our housing market into a political weapon. If you are funneling illegal immigrants into homes, shelter programs, or backdoor mortgages, and you're doing it with foreign money, state funding, or federal loopholes, your days are numbered. But while the left obsesses over illegals, Trump is putting American citizens first, where they belong. That means prioritizing veterans, working families, and law-abiding citizens in every housing initiative. That means targeted reinvestment